this happens.
It's live.
It's live.
It's alive.
It's alive. We are live. We've been not alive for a while because we haven't done any streams in the past.
That's true. I will say this week, and I wish this on to you because you're still in the US. You're about to travel back to Europe. I have had no jet lag. It's like unbelievable. Flying east, 9-hour time, 8-hour time difference now because of strange daylight savings difference between the US and Europe. But I've gotten 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single night, uninterrupted.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy. This has never happened to me before. I think I was just so exhausted after the trip that, my body was like, whatever, we'll take whatever you can get.
We take the sleep that you give me. Like, if sleeping time is now, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, this has never happened to me, ever. But it's been, and I don't want to jinx it, but it's been 1, 2, 3 nights of like astoundingly good sleep. So.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I'm in Austin, or I'm making already 2 hours more towards the right time zone now. So that's maybe a good start. We have a 6-hour time difference now. We hosted yesterday Hack Night here, the same that we did in San Francisco. Maybe we could like talk about those a little bit, because it was cool to invite people to hack on MCP-lite. I think one learning for me is that although the industry has picked up MCP really highly, for a lot of engineers, at least those that showed up at the Hack Night, MCP is still somewhat new. So not everyone has touched it yet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think like everyone knows, typically everyone knows the word, but then as like I think expectation versus reality is a little different. And I even noticed from working with another company when we were in the US, like sometimes it clicked and then sometimes it went into this like mixing up what a client in a server would do, or like mixing like thinking of MCP as also like, oh, I'm building the agent, but typically if you're only building an agent that you control, MCP is probably a poor tool to use. But if you're expecting other people's agents to use your thing, then MCP is a good tool to use. And I feel like that distinction is lost somewhere in the hype.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of people have used MCP servers themselves, so they hook them up to Cursor or Claude or whatever, but then building the MCP server themselves also is a part that sometimes is missing, right? So someone was also looking yesterday for just a wrapper around the API, and I was like, this is not how you go about it. We've learned that now during the past. Like he said, yeah, but I can just then, out-comment tools, so I have less tools. And I was like, yeah, but maybe that's the wrong approach from like, start thinking around it, start thinking of tools a little bit differently than your API, because if you do the translation and you have that already mapped out, I feel it's way harder to wrap your head differently around your tools. And I don't know. But yeah, so
this is a little preview. I guess what's on the agenda today. We talked about catching up on what's happened with MCP-lite. Also about recapping the events, which I guess we're doing right now, and then going into what we're calling right now the scorecard, but we'll figure out exactly what we want to call it at some point, which is something that reviews your MCP server, an agent that looks at your MCP server and gives a critical eye towards it, trying to catch issues like, hey, this just looks like your API spec. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like a carefully curated set of tools for specific workflows that an agent might take. I think I won't name and shame, but when I was testing out this reviewer that we've been building on a couple of different servers, I gave it this is not going to enter into production. We won't see it today, but this came out of a hackathon project where I gave it the personality of Gordon Ramsay, just for a little flair during the hackathon. And so it would be brutal in its criticism of an MCP server. And so I still had like little parts of the system prompt still kind of had that in it, where it would be a little sassy. So I had it review an MCP server. I won't name the company, but it just used
saw that in our Slack channel. Yes.
Yes, it was like it loved saying disaster.
Yeah.
Like calling everything, this is a disaster. And so
completely useless, right?
Was it not completely useless is
completely
another one.
Useless.
With this one, it didn't say completely useless, but it was like, it looks like your API developer just created a tool for every single route, because they had something on the order of 100 tools. Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing to look out for when you build a server on top of an existing service.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm also like, I'm on a blog post right now. I think it's funny because some things you can also see manually already, right? It takes you some time, but you can investigate also in some of those things. Obviously, not in you don't need a service for it, but makes it way easier. But the endpoints, I guess, is one point, and then the output, how that looks like, how it can be digested.
Yeah.
From the agent then on the other side, right? So what other design decisions when you build out the server are the MCP evaluation tool, scorecard, however we will call it, looking at? You mentioned the tool, the amount of tools, and the mapping to the API route is one. What other considerations does the tool have to evaluate the MCP server?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the system prompt again, but the things that it usually calls out are like clarity of names. And then if it gets the sense, this is kind of the creative piece, like if it gets the sense that several tools are meant to be used together consistently, it will kind of suggest like wrapping them into one tool. So if there's something where it's like, one thing has a parameter of like, I need the ID for this label, and that's not obvious, then it's like, okay, then you have to search labels. Then there's a separate tool for searching labels by name to get the ID. And if that's like a common workflow, then it's kind of like that's not a super useful, or yeah, it might suggest rolling that up somehow of like, I'm not exactly sure how in that example I gave, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, I think, and then I think I'm trying. We'll look at it later. We'll see what it comes up with. We'll connect it to something. But let's talk about MCP-lite. Or no, actually, real quick, because we haven't caught up on Austin, the event that you just hosted there with Cloudflare. What were some standout things that people built?
Oh, I liked one project. It didn't make, like, it was hard to pick in the end, the winners, really. So the one that I'm mentioning now didn't win, but I liked how hacky it was. So someone vectorized papers with Viviet and Python, with Python script, but they wanted to have an MCP server on Cloudflare. So they created a fast API around the Python servers they had, then created a Cloudflare worker with the MCP server to call from the MCP server the Python service.
Right.
And it felt funny because probably there would be a way to bring everything to the TypeScript world, but I like how someone comes with an idea already in mind and then glues up whatever exists in the universe for the hackathon. And I kind of like the gluing part.
Yeah, so this was kind of born out of the requirement to use MCP-lite, which is in TypeScript. Yeah. And they were like, okay, I'll just shell out to I'm a Python developer, I'll just shell out to my Python service.
But I mean, it worked perfectly. Like, it's a perfect and good demo in the end. I like if people explain their thinking process and if things are really working well. I think a lot of people yesterday showed us the code that they were thinking of and developing. We had a student joining for the first time doing MCP stuff, building with the Blue Sky API, an MCP server that would analyze your stocks. And what he did really well was that he had only one tool in the MCP server who would do a bunch of operations. And I think that fits again really well to, like, it's not just a wrapper around the Blue Sky API, but you have a tool that says analyze stocks, and then it's doing multiple steps on the Blue Sky API, basically.
Cool.
Which I think was cool. We had someone doing some crazy stuff with Cloudflare containers as well. So having an MCP server, I need to look that up again. But building, I think, some Cloudflare containers for you.
Okay.
or the other way around. And then someone who was helping an employee, or I don't know, or a relative, like was analyzing a bunch of housing data and pricing data, and also displayed them really nicely for them. So that was a winning project actually, because it felt really like a full circle thing, and it was really great to see that someone could just say, "Hey, give me that," and the MCP server would exactly, like build the analytics around it.
Cool. Those are some high quality projects.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's something I realized with AI demos, and the demo space becomes harder for Hack Nights because we are on the tool vendor side. We want to see how people use the tool, but it's very easy now to show only front end parts of your application, right? And outline a real demo. But then for us as a tool vendor, it doesn't become really clear. Or, well, like, I mean, the hackathon had the theme around MCP-lite. So I think it's always a good idea if someone sees that and want to join a hackathon, show how you use the tool. Because if you only show the front end part, no one really knows what you've did in the back end.
I think we had that in San Francisco too. There was a demo. I appreciated the cleverness of the demo, but the person built something cool, which was like they built the ability to tweet. Well, it was supposed to be an MCP server that would tweet for you.
Mm-hmm.
But then the demo showed they were doing like curl requests to the MCP endpoint that didn't have data that an MCP server that would expect. And then that resulted in the tweet. And then I was kind of like, okay, this technically isn't an MCP server. Now I know that. So, but it was, I appreciated the the hustle.
I mean, we saw that as well with the, I like the project still at the Hack Night in San Francisco, where we had sensor data from parking slot, but that was also a Python project. And we were talking about it, right? Because we were not sure how this ends up in a D1 database then, because it was basically also not outlined in the demo. But comparing this to the demo that I saw with some Python code for vectorizing now, you can make it happen if you just explain how like, even if it's hacky, just explain how you achieved it, if you achieved it,
Yeah. Well, yeah, cool projects. I think, I don't know if we have any events coming up, but.
Don't think so. We are evented out for now.
Until for the time being.
For the time being.
All right. Well,
what did I miss on MCP-lite? You said we have updates, and I haven't followed.
There's one that I'm going to share my screen. And I have indeed. Okay. Oh, entire screen, please. Okay. I had to replace my computer a while ago, and I keep getting the, or rather, completely wipe my computer clean and then start afresh, which means I get a lot of the permission errors for sharing my screen a lot of the time, where I have to exit the application. The big news in MCP-lite land, which we will lead with, is we added support in Create MCP-lite that can deploy an MCP-lite server on Superbase's edge functions. So Superbase edge functions are like Cloudflare workers. They are globally distributed small pieces of code that can run, TypeScript scripts, or in this case, it runs on Dino, but that's not totally relevant. And let's see here. I can restart again. It's very simple. How you get that started, it is a new template to select. So if I went to, it's not the one I want. I'm just going to use bun, create MCP-lite at latest. And when I do that, I could say super test 002. That's the directory that will install everything in. And option 3 right here is Superbase edge function. Did we talk about the ChatGPT app SDK starter last time?
we talked we had the crossover episode with
right. Okay.
with the Call My Agent episode, and we talked about it, but we haven't shown the code. So, have we? Maybe we have.
I genuinely don't remember, but at some point, well, everyone know we have a ChatGPT app SDK starter with MCP-lite, and it is a very good starting point because those things are not straightforward how to build them. At any rate, Supabase edge functions. I'm going to select that. I'm going to say that Cloud Code is my code pilot. That just creates a Cloud MD. And
basically yesterday, this got a shout out from a lot of attendees. They enjoyed that we have the agents MD or Cloud MD in the project. Because it's not only for the agent useful, it's also for human useful, like people can also read it and get some more information.
I'm glad that's getting love because that was something that I partially implemented but never shipped in Create Honc app. And then when we created this CLI, I immediately was like, okay, that's like feature number one. So we get the proper documentation in there. So, and then I think Laurinus was the one who actually filled it out because the first version of the CLI was a little different, but he saw that step was in there and then he filled in all the correct information. At any rate, you get some instructions. Actually, it's easier to see. What should I do? I'll do cursor, and then I can render it. If you go to the README, and let's open preview. Oh, Markdown. Command Shift V. Swore I did that.
Oh, there we go.
And here, wait. Theme. Sorry. Let's do quiet light.
Oh yeah, that's way better for my eyes at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have here? You need Supabase to be initialized, which I think that should be done by the template. Then you just start. Should double click. You do Supabase start, Supabase function serve with the name of the function, which is MCP server. So if you've never worked with edge functions in Supabase, it might be a little weird, but just follow these instructions. So if I went to Ghost there, here first I can list the code will be in Supabase in functions, and that's where the MCP server code is. But in this case, I think I just need Supabase start, and yes, perfect. Okay. It can be a little tricky because a lot of times you have to download a bunch of containers, which is why I tried this out beforehand, because otherwise we would have been waiting for a while. So once you do that, you can do Supabase function serve, and we'll go back to Ghosty, and hopefully, all right, so that gives us a URL right here. And we could pop that into, I'll do this, Bonnex at model context protocol /inspector. Get that going, please. Boop. And okay, so this is the path to the server itself. And then I tag on /MCP as we often do. And now I can list tools and I can see we have the sum tool. That's the only thing that's here. But it's a good starting point. You can use any other, you just implement whatever logic you want in that function, which I should just show what it looks like.
And is the deployment as straightforward as with Cloudflare? So you just run the dev server, but then also you just do the deploy to Supabase?
Yeah, so you do Supabase functions deploy, and you have to log in and everything. Okay. And there will be more blog posts and demos coming out about this. We have our own blog post on the new and improved blog.fiberplane.com. And you can kind of get a walkthrough of everything that we did right here. There's some quirks to the template, just has to do with working with Supabase edge functions. So it looks slightly different at the application level than what we might be used to with like a Cloudflare worker. But this has to do with the fact that your edge functions are deployed at like what we saw here, right? So /function /v1, then the name of the edge function. So yeah, some quirks, but we create the template so you don't have to deal with those quirks out of the box. And you can just start implementing whatever logic you want to. Very curious. Have not taken a crack at this yet, but how it integrates with Supabase Auth and how easy that would make it to have an authenticated MCP server. The benefit of all this approach is that like Supabase, like your database has decided and has a very robust ecosystem around it of how to like create an application on top of that database. So I am excited to see what people build, and I feel like, was there one other thing I wanted to show? Not necessarily. That's that. So that's a working MCP server out of the box with Supabase.
Nice.
I think the next thing that, or I don't know, is there anything I missed? Are you confused by anything?
Well, I haven't looked into the template, but the 2 apps is definitely something that is a little bit confusing, but glad that it is in the template already. So
yeah, and I meant 2 apps, like 2 Honc apps.
Yeah, that's what
wire them together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I also like. When you showed it, I was like, oh, interesting. I've never seen something like that in code. So
yeah, I can also, well, I can look at it real quick. So, oh, these aren't installed yet, are they? What's actually happening? So you have your top level app, which is the Honc instance. Then you have your MCP app, which is, these are just for organizing routing. So the quirk here is that like when the request comes to your edge function, it is technically like the incoming HTTP request has this as the root route / MCP server, which is the name of your edge function. And so if you want Honc to behave properly inside of this edge function, you need to kind of tell it like, hey, I'm expecting a request at this route. And so I think we would have, it's the same as if we put / MCP server at every single route here, and then I think it would still work. But I guess this is kind of like idiomatic within edge functions to have, and it's less, manual typing, to have 2 different apps that you wire together. But yeah, I think, okay, let me see here. I will see if this works. I was going to show the scorecard next.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one small update that I've learned yesterday, and we don't need to show that, but Wrangler has an update. So you can use the newest version of Wrangler for Cloudflare workers. Sorry, I'm switching context back to Cloudflare. Yeah. But then you don't have to, if you deploy and you use one of the primitives, the bindings like KV or the AI binding, I think it will create the binding and the resource for you directly on the Cloudflare network, and also give or post the ID of that resource into your Wrangler JSON-C, which is super handy for demos because it leaves out a step for you to create the thing and copy paste it into your Wrangler. So I think that was quite cool.
This is true. It's a lot less. Do this command, copy this thing into this file, and then do this other command, which is a nicer DX. Yes. Okay, so I mentioned it earlier. The MCP reviewer. Also, this UI, by the way, is not final. I'm waiting on some conversations with our designers, and we've affectionately called it the fitness section for now. But on a forthcoming revamp to console.fiberplane.com, we're going to have a little page where you can input the URL to an MCP server. Oh, I really hope this works. Okay, let's. I gotta be a little creative here.
Oh, you're using the one that we've created and tunnel it?
Yes. Yeah. So you input the URL to an MCP server. This might fail, by the way, because of security things. So actually, let me. I hope. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. Because ngrok has it warns you the first time you visit something, but that might only be in the browser. So
I'm wondering if this is getting spicy now because you only have a tool that's adding
Oh, it's going to get that. That was kind of my hope. So
okay,
you put in the server, and then again, we're calling it a fit check. We're not going to call it that in production. You're seeing the thing that I've been toying with in the past week. You can kind of create that, and shows up here. You get a little status, and then you can run kind of a review or an analysis. And I think it will not like the fact that, yeah, this is a toy demonstration server. I guess I removed all the spiciness recently, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, toy demonstration server, I don't know, it also doesn't sound super nice.
Yeah, I think, okay, it's still pretty critical. I mean, the system prompt tells it that it's a critic, but I removed a lot of the stuff of like disaster.
But it still feels a little bit like, some at least honest. It's like,
yeah.
At least you are honest here. It's still a little bit on the...
Ooh, what is this? Oh, it wants to test. Oh, yeah. I have not implemented the ability for it to start testing tools because there are some security concerns with that, and I want to put in some guardrails. But for now, it should go through every single tool and review the name, the description, the schema, and look for potential problems. So in this case, it just says it functions correctly for what it does. And it represents the absolute minimum viable MCP server and lacks any real-world utility. Oh my god! Maybe I should tell it to be nicer. So, yeah, what? I really thought that I removed some of the sass, but look at this, the good.
Yeah, but it's at least honest. I saw that already, and I was like, okay. I mean, like, I think you cannot get the character out. You gave it a character, and now it is in the character,
Yeah. So yeah, I guess this is like, then honestly, this is a very good tip, and like the philosophy behind the reviewer is to make your tools agent ready, or to have like agent experience in mind. And what that means here is like, and then specifically in the context of having one tool named sum, it calls out that it's just like extremely generic. So is this a sum of like math operations? What if it were in an environment with other MCP servers and there were another tool named sum that had to do more with financial transactions? And then, obviously, if the end user says sum this, it's getting left up to the agent to, there's too much room for error in terms of which tool the agent would select. So yeah, I like this. So far, I can show you a more real example. Let's see here. Oh, we have the Superbase one itself. Yeah, why not? I don't quite remember what this one says. But hey, well-crafted MCP server that demonstrates strong design principles throughout. They've thought carefully about agent workflows and developer experience, but there are opportunities for refinement, but it's a high bar. So yeah, it looks kind of holistically, is there consistent naming? Does it map to how developers would think of this? And developer kind of in this context is agent. And then it calls out a couple of areas for improvement. So I'm not familiar entirely with all of these tools, but yeah, apparently there's things about get cost and confirm cost, and it's not totally clear what that's supposed to do. Yeah, something called get advisors that appears to be kind of domain specific and could benefit from a clearer name. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm excited about this because I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in MCP server tool names and definitions, and this can be a way to catch it. Nice.
Cool. I'm also looking forward to it. And I don't know if maybe people would enjoy, like, if the spiciness stays, you never know.
I was thinking of making it like
or you can choose,
Yeah. You can choose like how spicy of a review do you want? Because I think it is kind of fun to see it roasted.
Yeah. Or you could do it on the cultural level, like, do you need the sandwich technique? Like.
How do you prefer to receive feedback?
sandwich or brutal force, like, you know, the Dutch way.
Just no holds barred. I'm going to tell you exactly what's wrong.
No, that's cool. I think we filled the stream already with everything we talked about. And it's cool. I'm also looking forward to the scorecards, to the fitness checks of MCP Server.
Whatever we end up calling it.
Oh, I think we should call it fitness check. I like that. It's like, you know, it's like you do a run, the MCP server is doing a run, the test run, you know, and then.
It's true. Yeah, we do like the health metaphors. I think one of our designers, Simon, kind of was taking inspiration from like Apple Watch, like how they display information. And I was like, ooh, I love that. I love like sending your MCP server to the gym and
definitely. And like, I mean, imagine everyone is also having those scorecards and they're improving the MCP server then after that. So you could see also the improvement of the training of the MCP server. You know, like it can reach the high bar.
Yeah, and see it go up.
At one point, there's the MCP marathon. Let's see who's winning. I don't know. Well, no, but I think it's cool. I'm also like, I think it also probably will give a little bit more overview of certain MCP servers. I guess ultimately it also helps to reduce cost on the client side, right, for the LLM API calls, because I feel bad designed MCP servers will consume more tokens for an LLM.
Possibly. So that's the tricky thing right now is I'm not invoking tools, so it can't speak to tool outputs. Yeah, and so I guess a moment on that. I think the approach we'll take is similar to how OpenAI first did MCP. If your tool is not marked as specifically being read-only, so you can do that in metadata on your tool. You can say, hey, give a hint like this is just a search. So it's not destructive. It won't delete any records from your system or anything like that. And so if a tool is marked as read-only, we will automatically invoke it. And then possibly step after that is if it's not marked as read-only, you need to give us permission to invoke it. A little bit of the logic being like if someone connected, a production server, we don't want our agent who's evaluating it to like delete things or like update records with ridiculous data, or do anything that would betray the trust in our agent.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think more of that maybe next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Thanks for joining today, and I hope to see everyone next week again. And I think we are into streaming now.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back. Cool.
Bye.